What's up, guys? Our Wrestling Podcast back at you with another episode. This is Dave Vicious along with Jess the Total Package and Craig the British Bulldog, bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industries, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. Today's topic, WCW Spring Breakout Monday Nitros. For audio fans, give us a listen on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, and iHeartWradio, or watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel. On social media, can you give us a follow on Instagram at O.W.P 2019 or on Facebook and X at Our Wrestling Podcast. Jess, you are just beefing up for the ratings. You love talking about ratings. It was some of the funnest time within the Monday Night Wars. Who was going to score the best rating? What were the ratings going to be for the previous week? I take it this is where you're going when we talk about Spring Breakout. What am I missing, if anything?
WCW was always really, you could say what you want about them. They like to change sceneries. Vince liked to have the same thing. You know, yeah, some arenas look a little different or whatever, but same Titantron, same thing. Vince would always really do that. He never did a different Raw. I mean, I know the venues would change in the early days, like from the Manhattan Center, and then they would do some other place or whatever, and the buildings would look different. But WCW wasn't afraid to, another thing that comes to mind is they did starting the day after Bash of the Beach 96, where Hogan turned heel. They had 3 or 4 weeks because the Olympics were in town. So they had to move out of Atlanta and they went to Disney MGM Studios in Florida, and they did 4 straight live Monday Nitros on the outdoor. They were outside, and that was some of the best, my favorite Nitros in '96. And every year in the month of March to kick off spring break for college students and stuff like that, they would do a WCW Nitro, and they would call it Spring Breakout. And you're going to get into it. They did 4 of them, and I just remember them because. Like AEW, they'll be at Daly's place. That looks very different. That's a very different setup. They're not afraid to go to different venues and have things look different, you know? On the Jericho Cruise, he puts a fucking ring on the ship, and then they can have wrestling matches like on there. It's just, I love that. I love promotions that aren't afraid to make things look different. And one of the things I loved about WCW was it wasn't afraid in any stage, no matter who was booking it, they weren't afraid to kind of do something different. Bischoff, I think, got the most creative because, especially with Disney, he's like, "Is it free? Are we here for free? Okay, good. Like, you know, because it saved production costs and stuff. He did WCW Worldwide for like 4 years in the Disney Sound Studio, and much like WCW Saturday Night was taped, and that was all Bischoff. He's like, just fucking make it look different, like a different place, like, you know, like it's kind of cool. So these spring breakouts were outdoors. You're gonna get into it. 3 of them were in a fucking club, like, you know, but it was all designed for college kids. It's how over WCW was. When a lot of people give the Attitude Era credit, and it deserves a lot of it, but NWO started the whole like college students and older high school students liking wrestling again, and that started in like 96, 97.
Gosh, the first one you have here, Jess, is totally imprinted on me. I remember it would take place on March 10th of 97 at a Club La Villa in Panama City Beach, Florida. This venue is famous for the aesthetics of that show. It was an outdoor venue. I think you got a picture for us, Jess, that might be coming. With the ring being set up on a platform in the middle of this large pool. Oh, yeah, that is, I mean, dude, come on. Nobody ever did that. Nobody ever had anything like that. Episode 78, March 10th, 1997. What a cool way to bring that out. And by the way, there's standing room only in that place where they do have the ability to put fans in. So it looks really cool, and it looks like it's very much sought out. By the way, I seem to remember, and maybe it was on another episode, but is this where I thought somebody hit the pool here? Am I wrong? Or
it was? I want to say it was 98. I think the Big Show threw Scott Hall in. There might have been a couple years.
And he's going to go in to the drink. That would be NWO member number 3 to hit the water tonight.
I wonder if we can have that fish stuffed. Well, I was wrong. It does float, doesn't it?
The world's biggest grouper.
People went in, but I want to say Big Show threw Scott Hall in 98, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that's okay. That's what it is. Got it. Yeah, I seem to remember that quite a bit. But look at that. I mean, that picture is perfect, Jess. That's a great. What a great moment.
So silly. It's just silly.
It is like it's so crazy.
It's
like,
cool looking, but it's silly.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, and there's not a lot of room on the apron, just enough for the mats right there. Like,
yeah. Also, my thing is like, obviously that platform could be disassembled, and they probably put like, you know, during parties and stuff, they put like DJ shit there, I'm sure, or dance floor
Sure,
or whatever.
100%, yeah.
Or a live
Or a
band or
bar.
whatever. Or a live
Maybe a
band.
bar.
But
Who knows? Yeah.
I'm so interested in how. So when they said let's do something different for the Nitro and Spring Break, okay, let's go to Florida. I mean, of course, because that's wherever they go for any kind of oddity. Like wrestling's like, let's just see what Florida's doing. And then look at that platform and go, how much can it hold? What about like several men bumping on it over and over
Yeah.
again? Like, how do you get the fire department in there? How do you get the city?
I
I'm being
guarantee you, nobody who was checking. It was Florida. Nobody was checking.
yeah, maybe nobody is, but I'm being serious. Like I just kept thinking in my head, like, is that like,
Right.
how do you do that? There was someone that was in charge of logistics in WCW, and how do you go? Like, can we safely put this fucking ring on this platform that normally a band just sits and plays, or a DJ with their equipment?
I bet they've had 300 chicks in bikinis on there just bouncing up and down.
Yeah, good point.
It has
Good
been
point.
weight tested. Like,
good
people
point.
have died.
It's a good point. Yeah. It's only 2 people with the ring. It probably was still less than.
When I saw that picture, I was like, how? Like everything else, I was just like, wait a minute. How do you? What code
like
do you have?
Even
to,
the balance of taking bumps, like how the equilibrium on the water, like how the fuck does that work? It's And did they all came? Yeah, obviously they didn't fucking swim out. What the fuck am I saying? I was like, how did they get to the ring? They obviously was ahead of the thing.
Yeah.
Well, coming down the aisle, Rey Mysterio's all like coming down. His music.
They droned him in. Yeah.
He's just swimming.
So only holding a few hundred people. The crowd was made up of just college students. This was very influential on the rise of WCW because as the NWO storyline began to dominate the wrestling audience, it was no longer for kids. WCW became a very much a older teen, middle-aged fans, and it looked fresh and topical with young people in the audience there, which might have been just even the bigger point because it was not so much. I mean, at first it was not so much about the wrestling; it was about the venue, right? And having these young people there really kind of made wrestling back to hip and cool again. Probably more hip than it was even in the rock and wrestling days. It completely changed everything on its ear. And this also featured Dennis Rodman announcing with the NWO, right, as a new member. And also Sting was there, but Sting would not join the NWO. The rating for the show was a 3.5 to Raw's 2.3. Now, we're lucky to get 2s now, right? But
we don't. Yeah, that's like that's like because it's true. I mean, it's way different. But Jesus, like to have both promotions on the same night, like get 2s and 3s is fucking insane. And this was 97.
Yeah. Right. Incredible. The second spring breakout for Nitro was held March 16th of 98, also at Club La Vila. The main event would see Lex Luger and Sting defeat Hollywood Hogan and Randy Savage by disqualification. The rating of the show was unopposed. Yes, I'm sure you'll explain where Raw was. This was a 5.1 rating.
That's insane.
Which is
unopposed.
incredible.
5.1 a year later, and this was probably a month before WWF finally snapped the 83-week streak. So they were WWF was getting close here. WCW still was number 1 here. WWF.
Why were they unopposed?
That's
why
what
they missed.
It was either
must have been Dog Show.
I was going to say it was probably the Dog Show. Like Raw was probably preempted because of the Dog Show. It had to have been.
Got it.
Right. There's nothing else going on.
Look at Hall.
It was always just. Yeah.
They're having a great time.
Yeah, they got to get drunk. Like Hogan and Savage are miserable because they actually have to work and do shit. But like Hall and Nash here are just like, Giant's going to throw us in the pool later. Okay. Like they just did. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
For 1 second, obviously these are beautiful women, but I've been sent to Panama City. I've been here for 4 days, and this is our Miss Nitro. We've been doing, where did she go? This is our Miss Nitro, and these are beautiful women, but this is a Miss Nitro contest. And this is our Miss Nitro. Let's give it up for Miss Nitro. She is, you guys voted. We've been doing this for 4 days.
All right.
This is our
Let's
Miss
cut to
Nitro.
the chase, all right? Now, she's Miss Nitro. That's been deemed, that's been clarified. But you have to choose one of our lovely women as Miss NWO.
Already, that's a nice shirt Scott's got. I'd wear that. It's pretty dope. All right. On March 22nd of 1999, WCW would have its third spring breakout Nitro. This would be the final time it was held at Club La Vila. In the main event, Ric Flair would defeat Rey Mysterio Jr. to defend the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. Wow.
Do not remember
the rating
that
for the
at all.
show was a 4.0, but Raw hit a 6.4 rating. I didn't know anybody got above a 5.5 like ever.
Well, yeah, Raw got in the
idea.
6s. Raw's highest was Raw's highest segment was like 8 or 9. I think that was the Who's Your Life or the birthday celebration for The Rock that Foley did. I think to this day,
15-minute segment.
I don't remember what it got. It might have got 8 point something. It was huge, like it was gigantic. But yeah, no.
And by the way, they got yelled at for going way long on that too. People were pissed about it, and then they saw the ratings. I guess everybody was fine with it after that.
What a difference a year makes. In 1998, they're unopposed doing a 5.1, and then a year later, by the way, number 2, 4.0 is not bad. That's higher than their 97 rating. Like, it's like they were. So Nitro losing at the beginning of 99 was getting in the 4s still, and Raw was just fucking in the 6s and out of control.
I always kind of equate a rating point to like 1 million or whatever. That's fucking. I know it's not quite that, but that's 10 million people.
Well, and you'll see, Craig, on the very last one that Dave will talk about. You'll see what I think we've talked about before, and what Bruce Pritchard talked about is like, listen, if Raw's doing a 6 and Nitro did a 4, we're not saying 10 million people are watching wrestling. He's like, it's probably 6 or 7 because there's crossover contamination. You'll see that as the ratings get, like, WCW really starts flattening out later. You'll see that how it makes sense that happens. That's probably true.
Right. 100%. On the 2000 episode, which was March 27th, WCW had moved to the Spring Breakout show just off the beach in South Padre Island, Texas.
What
It'd be held on the property.
Shitty
Sheraton
fucking
hotel.
Let's go. We're broke. Let's go to fucking Texas, like right on the beach in the Sheraton hotel.
So this was like it held a few more people than Club La Vila, but the location just had the ring on the property with the hotel's towering in the background. It still provided a unique look to the product. The main event though saw was it The Wall? Is that right?
The Wall?
Jesus Christ! Stop talking. The Wall.
Are you serious? The Wall?
Stop. In the picture, do you see the guy with the glasses and the white shirt in the picture pointing at Hogan? That's The Wall.
Oh my God. He defeated Hogan by disqualification. The rating for the show was a 2.6 still, but Raw was crushing them at a 6.6 rating here.
They dropped down to a 2.6. It was over.
But still, like, the thing that's phenomenal to me now is like a 2.6. People would kill for that.
And honestly, to be fair, even back then, a 2.6 was still a stellar. That was a 2.6. That was the ratings that Raw and Nitro were getting in the early days in '95. So it's still a 2.6 million back here in 2000 was still a phenomenal cable rating. Like anybody would kill to get a 2 million.
I still find it hard to believe that that Time Warner AOL would not try to push this. I know they had pretty crazy contracts with you, but they had to pay them anyway. I don't understand. Exactly. They just hated wrestling no matter how much money it was making them. They just looked at money and said, I don't like this.
Well, it wasn't here. Like they were in 2000. It dropped a fuckload of money. I think they lost like $32 million in 2000.
But the ratings are still there. That's what you could
well, that's what I was thinking. Like sell the company to Bischoff like he wanted, and then just keep him. But they were like, oh no TV slot. It's like what? We don't want.
It's just ridiculous. They could have given all the liability to Bischoff. I know I'm going off on a tangent, and just to your point, give them a slot, and they could have canceled.
And had a show that was still getting like 2.5, 2.6 every week.
But they're like, no, we're not going to do that. I find that fascinating.
This is also the infamous spring break where Hogan's out doing a promo, and like I said, all the hotels. There was a hotel in the distance. They decided like a mile away from where they were. Like no shit. Way in the distance, Hogan's like, what? Who's that? And they had a helicopter with a spotlight hit the top of a building, no shit, like a mile away. And the Wall was up on the top doing the chokeslam symbol and pointing at Hogan. No one in the arena could see it because it was a goddamn mile away. So you just see like, is the spotlight on the building? Like what? And even the camera had to fucking zoom like all the way in, like to see the Wall just going, like, and why are you in a building a mile away? Why couldn't you just be on the Sheraton, which is right next to them? But instead they did it fucking like, it was like a half mile away, which is a long distance. And when you're filming a TV product, it was the most ridiculous thing like I've ever seen. It was awful.
I look out in the crowd. Every time I look around, I see more painted faces like Vampiro. He's building momentum, brother, and by hook or by crook, I'm going to make sure I watch his back. But I'm here for one thing tonight, brother. Sid Vicious, you coward. Step out of the shadows and I'll chop you down with the edge of my hand, brother.
Somebody collect the bounty now! I'm begging you!
I don't know what that is. Oh, up there. That's on top of the hotel. That's about 15 stories in the air. Look at that. That's the wall.
Maybe the wall will choke slam hold it from the top of the hotel.
Say wall. If you want some, come get some. That's the wall up there, brother.
Dumb.
And Hulk Hogan, during his promo, Hulk Hogan had to go, Mean Gene, that's the wall. Look at the wall. And it was ridiculous. And everybody was like, oh my God, like, what are you guys doing right now? So the 2.6 reflected it greatly.
And again, all college kids, no one gives a fuck about the wall. They're all just doing tequila shooters off tits of their own bodies.
Texas on a Sheridan.
Well, there's a reason why the final Nitro would come, and it would return to Panama City Beach, Florida. It would also return the boardwalk of Club La Vila, where that was at. The event would be held outside of the club in the courtyard, but not inside like it was previously. It would also be the last Nitro ever. Sting would defeat Ric Flair.
What's the difference between the courtyard and the... Oh, no.
We got to see it.
They couldn't even get the big outside pool? That's hilarious.
It's like
that's embarrassing.
We have a Bart's Mitzvah scheduled at the same day, so you can't have the pool. You got to schedule this outside. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Perhaps you'd be more comfortable at the courtyard.
What was your rating last year? 2.6. Yeah.
No. Yeah. So, but if the bar mitzvah cancels, we'll certainly get you by the pool. No
Look at Flair's face. He's so disappointed.
Right. It would be the last Nitro ever. Sting would defeat Ric Flair in a T-shirt. I always have to mention that. And the final match ever on a Monday Nitro.
He's got it on! Center of the ring! It's over! It's over! It's Sting! Sting wins! Sting defeats Ric Flair here on the final telecast of WCW Monday Nitro on TNT. And look at that! My God, he's going to help him up in an embrace! This is what we're all about.
Sting knows that Ric Flair made him at that Clash of the Champions. That's ultimate respect.
It really is.
For two men I have to say that I am huge fans of. They make me continue to be fans.
The simulcast would be held there where both Shane and Vince McMahon would announce buying WCW. The rating for this was a 3.0 to Raw's 4.7. You can see it's definitely cooling off.
That's what I was saying, Craig. Like, they got a 3.0 on the simulcast episode. Now, only the last 15 minutes of Nitro were on that, but Vince was announcing through the whole show that I bought them. So people tuned in. So the fact is that they got a 3.0, which is still a good rating for a cable, and then Raw only got a 4.0, which is crazy how much Raw had dropped in 01, like versus all the other times before.
Once the war was over, people didn't have a reason to watch almost. I mean, well, the casuals, I would say. So it's quite it's 6.6 to 4.7 is a massive drop in itself. Even though 4.7 is just phenomenal. To most TV rankings, but that's just
I want to do this episode too because the last Nitro ever was a spring breakout. It was their 01 spring breakout. So it's like that was it.
It's funny. I didn't even know like the differences of the spring breakouts and how much impact they played within the war, and then to the final episode.
I'm gonna botch this line, but it makes me think of Kill Bill Volume 2, where what's his face buried Uma Thurman's character alive, and then Daryl Hannah came to kill him. And then that line she said after the Mamba bit him and he was dying of the thing, she's like, and to think of it, a great warrior like that met her fate, and a piece of shit hillbilly like you. And I just think of that in the last Nitro, like a federation that was #1 and years before was 5.1 unopposed, and NWO met its fate, and a piece of shit fucking in the courtyard of the La Vila, not in the club like the where it used to be, outside. You met your fate out here, like in the fucking sands of fucking South Beach, Florida. Panama Beach, Florida.
Daryl Hannah. Yeah, Daryl Hannah when she pays him the money inside that mobile home.
And then as he's dying, she's like, she's like, I can't believe that great warrior.
Money. Yeah, I remember. That's such a good comparison. Like, I can't believe she died to some piece of crap like you. Like,
Yeah.
Wow.
I can't believe WCW just went out like at the fucking Panama Beach City, Florida, in the parking lot, like basically. That was it for them. The last gasp. Which I've been wanting to do, and I'll put this out in probably like March or April or whatever when it's actually spring break. So like it's getting close to that time. So I was like, man, I remember when WCW used to do an annual Nitro, and I appreciated that about them. So I want to end on a high note because like it sucks the way they went out, but like these were really fun, especially the first couple of years. It was like wow, like if you were flipping
cool to
through.
maybe review them.
Yeah, if you were flipping through and you were like, you would stop and go, "That's different," like, and then there's a pool. There's a wrestling ring on a pool. Like, Greg's right. It's silly, but like, it's kind of crazy the way they made it work. Like, Bischoff was an innovator like that. Like, he really was like, "What's free and what can we do?" Like, you know what I mean? Like, what can we do?
Yeah.
Even when he was number one, he was like, "What's free? We'll do Road Wild."
Again,
I mean, that's a flop.
He always knew it wasn't about the gate, man. Put people in for free, find a free venue. It was all about the TV deal and what you can do on ratings, and then how you can pay from there. Like he thought about it completely different from the gate that everybody else was in the wrestling world was looking at, and this told that story. I mean, it's quite amazing. To your point, there's only 200 people in these venues for the most part.
Yeah.
Didn't matter. So, yeah, it's incredible stuff.
Good stuff.
For audio fans, give us a listen on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, and iHeartRadio, or watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel. On social media, please give us a follow on Instagram at O.W.P 2019 or on Facebook and X at Our Wrestling Podcast. For the O.W.P, this is Dave, Jess, and Craig signing off. Have a good one.